Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our Great Lakes Aquaculture Day. Thanks for joining us. We had over 250 people register for today's event, and we're looking forward to an informative and fun day. My name's Amy Schrank, and I am a fisheries and aquaculture extension educator with the University of Minnesota Sea Grant. I coordinate the Great Lakes Aquaculture Collaborative, the organization behind our event today. Before we jump into today's activities, I want to take a moment to collectively acknowledge that the Great Lakes watershed is the traditional, ancestral, and contemporary lands and waters of Indigenous nations. As original caretakers of our region's lands, waters, and life beings, we affirm Indigenous sovereignty, history, and experiences in this region, and thank all our relatives for continued care for the water, foodways, and fishes in partnership with our communities throughout the Great Lakes region. The Great Lakes Aquaculture Collaborative is a joint program among 7 Great Lakes Sea Grant programs and covers the 8 Great Lakes states you see here highlighted in blue. For those of you not familiar with Sea Grant, we are a federal university partnership, and our job is to respond to community problems and needs focused on water by creating and communicating science-based solutions. The goal of the Great Lakes Aquaculture Collaborative is to provide science-based information and activities that support an environmentally responsible, competitive, and sustainable aquaculture industry in the Great Lakes region. The first job of the collaborative was to reach out to folks like you, producers, researchers, and the interested public, to understand what information and research is needed to help growers with the technical and economic aspects of raising fish, understand how consumers feel about eating farm fish, and what types of public education and regulatory reform are needed to support the aquaculture industry. In fact, our Great Lakes Aquaculture Day event was a direct result of conversations with each of Great Lakes of the GLAC's state advisory groups. On this slide, the numbers in the orange circles show you the approximate membership size of each advisory group in each state. GLAC advisory groups are made up of producers and farmers, distributors, researchers, and managers who volunteer their time to meet with their local Sea Grant folks, people like me, in all of these Great Lakes states. So essentially, GLAC is not just Sea Grant, but the advisory groups and the aquaculture community are integral components as we gather ideas and input so Sea Grant can, in turn, do our job of using science to solve problems. We are grateful for and thank all the members of the GLAC advisory groups for their time and the ideas they shared, which contributed directly to this event. Finally, I want to recognize and extend a huge thank you to the GLAC annual events team, Elliot Nelson, Lauren Jaskovich, Titus Salheimer, and Emma Weirma. They have worked so hard and planned a long time to deliver this great event. They're truly an awesome group to work with, and we are all grateful for their hard work on this day. And many days before. We also thank all the speakers and panelists willing to give up some time on a precious Saturday to present and discuss aquaculture topics. Well, many of these folks are doing double duty, both as advisory group members and also as presenters here today. We especially thank all of you who are attending. We know there are other things you can be doing on a Saturday, and we're really happy to have you here. So enjoy the day. Next, I'm going to turn it over to Mark Rath and Chuck Wyrich, aquaculture managers at the National Sea Grant Office. They're going to give you a quick welcome, and then I'll be back in a few minutes to introduce our keynote speaker. So with that, I'll ask Chuck and Mark to take over and share their videos, and I will return shortly. Thanks.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Thank you, Amy, for that introduction, and I'd like to quickly echo Amy's comments, thanking all of the team at GLAC that has put this event together today, and to thank all of the attendees for giving up some of their Saturday morning and the rest of Saturday day to be with us all here today. Chuck and I are really appreciative of the opportunity to be a part of this event, and we're really looking forward to seeing the rest of the presentations. As Amy said, my name is Mark Rath. I am one of the 2 aquaculture managers at the National Sea Grant Office. The other is Chuck Wyrich. You'll be hearing from him very shortly. We work for the National Sea Grant Office based in Silver Spring, Maryland, and we oversee the National Sea Grant aquaculture portfolio. Chuck and I have the country divided up into different clusters, and he and I both oversee some of the Great Lakes programs aquaculture work. I'm responsible for the Western Great Lakes, and Chuck is responsible for the Eastern Great Lakes. We've provided our email addresses here. Please feel free to reach out to us for any reason at all. We're always happy to talk to stakeholders and folks out in the States. We don't want to be hiding away at headquarters in Silver Spring. Please lean on us for anything that you think we can help you with. So Sea Grant at the national level and at the state level has been involved in aquaculture funding both through research and extension since the very beginning of Sea Grant itself. We're well past 50 years of Sea Grant being an entity that works on all kinds of coastal issues, and aquaculture has long been a priority topic area for us to work on. And it's our hope that out in the States, Sea Grant is a familiar name to everybody in the aquaculture community. We hope that you already know us, that we're not just introducing ourselves to you today. But we work really, really hard to make sure that aquaculture is a priority and to make sure that it aligns, the work that we do in aquaculture aligns with the rest of Sea Grant's mission so that it's supporting a safe and sustainable local seafood supply. I'm going to talk very, very quickly about the 4 ways that we can get federal dollars out into the programs and into projects to support aquaculture work. The first is our national strategic initiatives. This is what many of you are probably familiar with national funding calls, RFPs. Through our Sea Grant program omnibus, this is kind of our base budget. We push money out to the programs to run themselves and to do their own research calls and other projects that they have priorities for. This, I think, is best described as us kind of trying to stay out of the way from the national perspective. We also provide Sea Grant fellowships. Some of you may be familiar with Canals fellowships, but there's a number of other fellowships and programs like that try to get early career folks into the aquaculture community and start translating the education that they've got into actual functional practice of either aquaculture work or aquaculture extension. And then special projects. From time to time, things come up that need quick attention. We can't wait for a months-long planning process that would normally go into an RFI. Sometimes things come to us that are sort of shovel ready and ready to go. And we have methods to sort of do quick turnarounds on those kinds of projects when they come to our attention, or if we think of something that we can help with quickly. Special projects is sort of the catch-all category that lets us be a little bit more nimble and flexible. So in 2019, this is an example of one of our national strategic initiatives. We held 3 aquaculture competitions in 2019. Maybe against our better judgment, but this is just a table displaying how much interest there is in doing aquaculture work with research dollars. We have only so much money available for each competition, and we always see about 3 times as many asks for the money that we do have available. So we have, for the aquaculture call that created the GLAC, for example. That's the last line on that table, the Advanced Aquaculture Collaborative Programs. We had $36 million of requests for funds. We're only able to award 12. We were able to create 11 great teams. But just as an example, there's never a shortage of good ideas. We wish we could fund everything that we get because we really don't get that many bad ideas. But the funding is limited. We're always pushing and asking for more. But it speaks to the competitiveness of all of these proposals, which should tell you what a great concept that the GLAC itself was, along with all the others that we awarded that year. And this is a list of the collaboratives, or the hubs, as we're calling them, that were awarded in 2019. As you can see, it represents a really broad diversity of both geography and topics. These are sort of regionally focused teams for the most part, all about the country, all different types of aquaculture, all different species. And then, of course, the very last one on the list that we've highlighted is the reason that we're all here today. This NSI was responsible for creating the GLAC and kicking it off. And with that, I will hand it over to Chuck.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Chuck Wyrick. As Mark said, I'm the other aquaculture manager here at the national office based in Silver Spring, Maryland. And so as Mark said, out of these 11 collaboratives or hubs, one of them is the Great Lakes Aquaculture Collaborative, or GLAC. We're very proud to learn more about this collaborative and help fund it. As Amy mentioned earlier, this is a coalition basically, and it's addressing barriers to sustainable aquaculture development in the Great Lakes region. So we've been hosting regional calls every other week with the Sea Grant Network. So we're one of those regions is the Great Lakes, and we've been very happy to learn what's going on with this great work and all the teamwork involved. Everyone in the region should be proud of this effort, and it's going to amount to something. I truly believe that. So other activities that have been going on at the national office, some of our funding programs and other activities. So there was supplemental funding for programs that were offered to programs as part of their omnibus or core grants in aquaculture research. Some of this allowed for changes due to the impacts from the pandemic. We also initiated a COVID-19 rapid response funding program $100,000 was allocated to each of the programs. So some very great work ongoing right now, including shellfish restoration on the coast and also direct marketing. There's several efforts underway in the Great Lakes region on that. We are continuing to coordinate and provide input on federal programs towards COVID relief. For example, the CARES Act, the CFAP program, and also the Seafood Trade Relief Program. We've provided a lot of input to aquaculture opportunity areas with our NOAA partners. This is a result of the executive order signed by the president back in May. We've just completed an economics and market competition, economic and market issues affecting the aquaculture industry. Our selection process underway. We'll have up to about $5 million available for funding for the selected projects overall. And we're also in the process of identifying needs and planning for future investments to get input from our various stakeholders across the country, so we can design our funding programs to address critical needs in the aquaculture industry. Next slide, please. And with that, I didn't speak too long, but I welcome everybody to the workshop today and or the aquaculture day today. And if you need any more resources, please see those two links. One is our seafood, our National Sea Grant page looking at funding opportunities, and the other one focuses on the hubs we were just talking about. And with that, thank you very much.